you, everybody, for coming to the College Football Betting with Aaron Torres YouTube channel. If you could do me a quick favor, see that little subscribe button at the bottom of the screen. Go ahead, click that subscribe button. It helps our channel grow. It helps our audience grow. I appreciate it more than you know, as we're talking college football on this channel year-round. Appreciate your support. Click that subscribe button. The most important consequential game of Week 3, a matchup of very interesting teams, both with a loss on their resume already. Neither can afford another if they hope to have the season that they're looking for. I am, of course, talking about A&M at Florida. A&M, by the way, we're recording on Tuesday night, so the line may change if you see this or listen on Friday or Thursday or whatever. But A&M actually a 4.5-point favorite. The over-under just 46.5. Going into this game, listen, first of all, exciting game. Like I said, both teams have taken a loss, but we know what the big story is in this game, right? There is no doubt. There is no secret. It is the Florida quarterback situation, something that, listen, I can criticize Billy Napier, but I give him credit for being transparent on Monday. He has basically acknowledged that the plan is still to play both quarterbacks. Graham Mertz was the starter in week 1. He goes out with a concussion. DJ Lagway, the 5-star #1 recruit in America in some services, comes in. He throws for a cool 456 yards and 3 touchdowns. But Billy Napier says the plan all along has been to play both. The plan is to play both. Listen, I did reaction to this on Monday night. Fundamentally, I'll be quick because I want to get into other elements of this game. But if you're asking me my opinion, I just disagree with it. One, there's the obvious. Billy Napier, your job is on the line. If DJ Lagway is good enough, he's going to allow you to keep your job. If he isn't good enough, you're going to get fired anyway. You might as well go down guns blazing. But two, I'll also just say, I just think, I get that it's the noble, probably right thing to do, not for Graham Mertz to lose his job for an injury that was out of his control. But I also just think when you have 2 quarterbacks, you have none. At some point, you are going to have to go with one of these 2 anyway. And like I said, you fall to 1 and 2 in this game with what we know is the rest of an insane schedule. It's not getting any easier. I think this is just a dumb mistake by Billy Napier. I would play DJ Lagway. It seems like he's going to play both. Maybe he's pulling a fast one on us, but I'll be blunt. I don't think Billy Napier's smart enough to pull that off. Anyway, did that reaction, but part of the reason that it's kind of important to me that you play DJ Lagway is because in that opener against Miami, you had no ability to run the football, right? That's part of it. Is you go back to the Miami game. And listen, maybe Miami is just an elite team, even more talented than we give them credit for. But remember, in that game, Graham Mertz threw for 91 yards and you only ran the ball. The stat line says 139 yards, but 71 of those yards came on one play from Montrell Johnson. So we're basically talking about 80 yards rushing on about 25, 26 carries. I'm sorry, you did not prove you could run the ball, and that to me is a very interesting element of this game. Whoever is the quarterback, especially if it's Graham Mertz, can you find balance? Because I'm not sure that you can. To Florida's credit, I guess, they ran the ball successfully last week. They were, of course, playing Samford. The counter to that, of course, is that they were playing Samford. And, oh, by the way, Lagway was playing the entire game. In terms of Texas A&M, listen, we know their situation as well. Lose to Notre Dame in the season opener, beat McNeese in dominant fashion last week. But when I start to look ahead to this game, what's interesting to me, what's going on with Connor Wigman? That to me is the story of this game and maybe the story of this season for Texas A&M. Starting quarterback at A&M was excellent as a true freshman. Last year was playing well but gets hurt early. This year, 23 of 44, 225 yards in 2 games so far this year, right? And you go back to that opener against Notre Dame. 100 yards passing, 12 of 30. And you sit there and say, well, maybe Notre Dame's defense is just that good. Then last week against McNeese, he does complete 11 of 14 passes, but it's only for 125 yards. I know Mike Elko, I know Colin Klein, we're trying to get him into a rhythm, but that to me is a huge question mark with Texas A&M. Can you get Connor Wigman going? Can he make plays? because even though I'm not a big fan of Florida's defense, the bottom line is if they can crowd the box because they're not intimidated by your quarterback, there's really not much you can do. Texas A&M, by the way, if you're looking for positives and negatives coming out of last week, they did run the ball very effectively against McNeese State, 333 yards, almost 9 yards per carry. If you're looking for a negative, though, and Mike Elko talked about that in his press conference this week, D-line, which was supposed to be an area of strength, all of a sudden is not playing very well. They're giving up a ton of rushing yards. They need to be better against the run. And so as I look ahead to this game, listen, there's a couple things that stand out to me when I look at this game, okay? So first off, from the point spread, whatever you want to call it, okay? I'll just be honest. So I don't feel comfortable betting either side of this game in terms of an actual, do I take A&M? Do I take Florida as a home underdog? Because just think about the number of different factors that are at play in this game. From the Texas A&M perspective, this is your first road game. Your first road game under Mike Elko. Your first road game, by the way, under Mike Elko it'll still be a hostile environment, even if the fans have sort of turned on Billy Napier. So one, it's a tough environment. Two, I had forgotten this stat until I started prepping for this show. You know, A&M has now lost 10 straight road games. 10 straight road games for Texas A&M. So they have not won on the road. First road game under Mike Elko. Now they're a 4.5-point favorite, and Connor Wigman is not really playing that well. I'm sorry. I just can't do it. Other side, obviously, you have the two quarterback situation that we just discussed. You have Billy Napier. I will say I have my Billy Napier, take, if you will, that I kind of believe that whenever you're all in on him, he lets you down in a big way. And every time you kind of give up on him, he kind of pulls a rabbit out of his hat. Last year against Tennessee, last year against Missouri, they easily could have won. So this kind of feels like the spot where Florida's going to win, 24-10. And we're going to be like, oh, Billy Napier, where'd that come from? But to me, if I am making a bet on this game, I just think the under is the smart play. I know 46.5 isn't a lot, but let's just think about this game. An inconsistent quarterback on one side, which we just talked about with A&M. Two quarterbacks. When you have two quarterbacks, you have none in the case of Florida on the other side. Florida, to me, has not proven an ability at all to run the ball against anybody decent, but that A&M defensive line has not lived up to expectations so far this season. Now, again, maybe Notre Dame a little bit better along the offensive line than Texas A&M or than Florida is. So you think there's a possibility that maybe Florida struggles to run the football. You don't know who their quarterback's going to be on any given play. And I think you look at from both sides of this game, I don't know how either. Basically, let me put it this way. I'm just going to put it as simple as I can. I don't really know how either side consistently creates offense, because even A&M's run game was awesome last week against McNeese. But let's just think about it. If you just think about last week, it was McNeese, but the week before against Notre Dame, they couldn't do anything. So this is a total stay away to me from the betting perspective, from the point spread. But it does feel like a game that's going to be super low scoring. It's in the swamp. Mike Elko, I don't think he is going to go in guns blazing. I think he's going to play it close to the vest, similar to what he did against Notre Dame in week one. If Connor Wigman is struggling, I can't imagine this is the game he let him lose. And then from Florida, it's kind of the same perspective. Billy Napier, we've watched this offense for 3 years now. They ain't putting up 40 on A&M, even if that defensive front is struggling. This game has 22-19, 21-10 written all over it. If I had to pick a winner, can't believe I'm saying it, I'll probably take Florida because Lagway maybe comes in and makes a play or two. But I would definitely take the under because I think it's low scoring. I think A&M's trying to figure out a way to get out with a win. And I don't think Florida's just not the kind of team, which is ironic, of course, because we once called their offense fun and gun under Steve Spurrier. Now it's slow and whatever under Billy Napier. But give me the under of 46.5. That is my official best bet.